Our scripture reading this morning is from John 6, verses 1 through 15. Let us hear God's word as it's been recorded for us. Sometime after this, Jesus crossed to the far shore of the Sea of Galilee, that is the Sea of Tiberias. And a great crowd of people followed him because they saw all the signs he had performed by healing the sick. And Jesus went up to the mountainside and sat down with his disciples. The Jewish Passover festival was near. When Jesus looked up and saw a great crowd coming toward him, he said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread for these people to eat?" He asked this only to test him, for he already had in his mind what he was going to do. Philip answered him, "It would take more than half a year's wages to buy enough bread for each one of these to have a bite." Another of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. "Here is a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish, but how far will they go amongst the men?" Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." There was plenty of grass in that place, and they sat down. About 5,000 men were there. Jesus then took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed to those who were seated as much as they wanted. He did the same with the fish. When they had all had enough to eat, he said to his disciples, "Gather the pieces that are left over, let nothing be wasted." So they gathered them and filled 12 baskets with the pieces of barley loaves left over by those who had eaten. After people saw the sign Jesus performed, they began to say, "Surely this is the prophet who has come into the world." Jesus, knowing that they had come and make him the king by force, withdrew again to a mountain by himself. Now, the word of the Lord.
Thank you.
I can get it right once in a while. Not often. It's good to be here, even though this is a really busy Sunday. We have communion, we have ordination, we have all kinds of goodies going on. And then for those members of the station, we have a station meeting. So it is a full morning. I'm going to start off with a little story. My grandmother used to love to listen to Paul Harvey. It was, I think, her favorite thing to do is listen to him every day, every weekday. He once told a story about a 3-year-old boy. He went to the grocery store with his mother. Before they entered the store, the mother gave very clear directions to the little boy. Specifically, she said, "Now you're not going to get any chocolate chip cookies today, so don't even ask." She put him in the cart, and they started down the aisles. And everything was going just fine, and then they got to the cookie section. Seeing all the chocolate chip cookies was just too much for that little boy. And he said, "Mom, can I have some chocolate chip cookies?" Mom said, "I told you not to ask. You're not going to get any, and that's all there is to it." Well, they continued down the aisles. But their search for certain items brought them right back to the cookie aisle. The little boy said, "Mom, can I please have some chocolate chip cookies?" She said, "I told you you can't have any. Now sit down and be quiet." Finally, they got to checkout. The little boy sensed the end was in sight. Sensed that this might be his last chance. He stood up on his seat and he shouted out in his loudest voice, "In the name of Jesus, may I have some chocolate chip cookies?" Everybody in the store in the checkout lines did exactly what you did. They all laughed, and some applauded. And the little boy got his chocolate chip cookies. Not just one package. The other shoppers were so moved by this little boy's outburst that he and his mother went home with 23 boxes of chocolate chip cookies. I think the little boy experienced a miracle that day. Kind of like the little boy in the passage that I read this morning. They both experienced an unexpected miracle. The passage is pretty clear, and it's one we all know. One we've all been raised with, really. It's pretty easy to say both boys experienced miracles that day. The boy with the cookies didn't expect to get any cookies, went home with 23 boxes. The boys with the loaves and the fishes offered the lunch that he brought that day, and he helped feed 5,000 people. And that was the real miracle. What Jesus did with that boy's unselfish act of sharing, and that's what the story is all about. It's really a very simple story. Jesus and the disciples were headed from one place to another. They just crossed over the Sea of Galilee. This was the height of Jesus' popularity. People were coming, as they say, out of the woodwork to see him, to hear him. What they were really doing was hoping to see some sign, some miracle that would point to him as being the Messiah. Crowds were getting larger and larger. As Jesus and the disciples headed up the mountains across from Tiberias, the crowds followed. Jesus saw the crowds, saw them coming. Philip was from that area, and he would know where to buy food. So Jesus put Philip to the test. Where are we going to get enough food to feed all these people? Philip didn't have any idea. Not only was there no store, no bakery that he knew of that would have enough bread, there weren't any in sight. He looked at the size of the crowd. The adding machine in his head went off and said, Lord, even if we could get enough bread, it would take 6 months' wages at least to feed this whole crowd. And then they'd only just get a little bite. That's when Andrew stepped up and said, Lord, this little boy here, he has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. I know it's not much, but it's something. At that moment, I think Jesus kind of smiled. He looked from Andrew to Philip, told them to make the people to sit down. And after giving thanks, he began to distribute the food to the people. And everyone had their fill. And there were 12 basketfuls left over. Now, the interesting thing about this story, see, we think about it, well, what about the fish? What about the loaves? Somewhere along the line, I was told that the loaves were like a biscuit. So think of that, 5 biscuits. The fish, the size of sardines. Think about that one. And then think of how they collected 12 basketfuls left over. Amazing. All throughout Jesus' ministry, the significant miracles, sometimes even the significant teachings, come as a result of the interruption of the journey that they were on. They come as a chance encounter. Today, our chance encounter, a chance to help. Chance to help. You know, Philip saw obstacles. I don't know why he did, but he did. He'd been a disciple for a while, and he knew what all the miracles that Jesus could do. But maybe it was still the businessman in him, still just strong. And he wanted to take over this man of faith. Who knows? Philip saw obstacles. There's a lot of people in the world that see obstacles. A lot of people like that. I read a story one time about a little town. And in that little town, there was a bar. And the bar was called the Last Chance Saloon. Across the street from that bar, there was a storefront church called the Second Chance Church. It's pretty clever. A lot of people get concerned by obstacles. We can't do this. We can never accomplish this. We're too small. There's not enough of us. A lot of people feel like they've blown their only chance in life. They blew their chance for success, for fulfillment. And worst of all, some people think that they've lost their chance for forgiveness. These people don't think they have any chances left. For some reason, they believe that God could never forgive them. They think that their actions are just too horrible for God to ever forgive. That presents obstacles for their life and for their faith. Andrew, on the other hand, saw possibilities. That was just the way he was wired. He was always looking at the possibilities of life. Sort of like the old German schoolmaster, who, when he entered his class of boys in the morning, he used to remove his cap and he would bow ceremoniously to them. One of the students asked him, "Why do you bow to us?" His answer was very simple. You never know what one of these boys may become someday. And he was right. Because one of the boys happened to be the reformer, Martin Luther, of all things. I'm not sure if Andrew really knew what he was doing when he brought the boy to Jesus, but he saw possibilities. He didn't have much to offer, but he brought and he gave everything that he had. The little boy had an opportunity. He had a chance to help. He offered himself and his gift. And we know the rest of the story. In Israel, there are two major bodies of water. In the north is the beautiful Sea of Galilee, fed by the Jordan River. It flows from Mount Hermon southward. The body of water symbolizes the richness of the land. It supports a very productive fishing area. There are beautiful fields all around it. Even a tourist trade has developed there. As the Jordan River leaves the Sea of Galilee and flows through productive farmland. But within 60 miles, it feeds another body of water known as the Dead Sea. We've all heard of it. It's called the Dead Sea for a reason. There's no greenery. There's no fish. There's no growth. Nothing lives in this area. Salt and minerals encrust everything that touches this water. What happened? Actually, nothing happened to the water. The fact is, the Dead Sea has no outlet. The water from the Jordan is dumped into a salt and mineral basin. Whatever flows in there, whatever it receives, it keeps for itself. There's a lesson here. We receive so many gracious blessings from God. Sometimes we're like Philip and we see only obstacles. Sometimes we're like Andrew and we see the possibilities and turn them into opportunities to help. That's how we're supposed to respond. To do like the little boy. If we receive love, we have to give love. If we receive financial blessings, we have to share our bounty with those less fortunate. If we are blessed, we have to share our blessings. When we do, we become like the Jordan River. When we don't, we become like the Dead Sea. And the gift dies. And something within us dies also. William Barclay, in his daily study Bible, writes, Jesus needs what we can bring him. It may not be much, but he needs it. It may well be that the world is denied miracle after miracle, triumph after triumph, because we will not bring to Jesus what we have and what we are. If we would lay ourselves on the altar of his service, there is no saying what he could do with us and through us. We may be sorry. We may be embarrassed that we have no more to bring. But that's not a reason for us to fail to bring what we have. Little is always much in the eyes of Christ. There was a lady whose name was Dorothy. And one morning as she was driving to work, she was listening to a Christian radio station. The person on the radio was talking about kindness. And said, I wonder how many of you are listening to me on your car radio and thinking of how you can be kind while driving. And Dorothy began to think about what he was saying. A few blocks away, she saw a woman waiting in her car to get out of her driveway. Traffic was horrible. Dorothy knew this woman would have a hard time getting out of her driveway. So she slowed down to let her out. The woman smiled and waved at her. Dorothy decided she was going to stop at the grocery store. She got there and she pulled into the parking space. As she started to pull in, another car on the opposite side also started pulling in. Dorothy backed out and found another parking spot. As they both got out of their cars, the driver of the other car said, I can't believe what you just did. Anyone else would have made me back out. Dorothy explained what she'd heard on the radio about showing love. The two women began talking. Dorothy discovered that this woman had just moved into town. didn't know anyone, and was looking for a church. So Dorothy invited her to attend her church. Strong friendship blossomed from a chance meeting and from a small act of kindness. We do not know how things can change. We do not know what difference we can make. When I first started over Mount Olivet, this was 21 years ago, there were times when we did not have enough money to pay all the bills each month. That we'd have to go from one account to another account to try to figure out how to pay and what we were going to pay. In those 21 years, things changed over there, changed dramatically. There was never a thought that we could do scholarship programs, but we do now. This past Christmas, we were able to help Christmas families. Small little church, little country church, small little country church. But this past Christmas, we were able to provide $3,800 worth of gifts to families. We are called to give. We are called because we've been blessed to return a portion of those blessings. We are called to reach out. The story I told, a chance encounter, changed that woman's life and a friendship grew. Chance encounter changed not only that boy's life, but gave us one of the best loved miracles of Jesus' ministry. Why? All because they put their small gifts into the hands of Christ. There are times when it's easy to look at the obstacles in front of us and say, we don't have a chance. But we have to remember that with Jesus, all things are possible. All things can be renewed. Our challenge is to bring our loaves, our fishes, no matter how meager, no matter how small, and put them into the hands of Jesus. Our challenge is to look for our own chance to help, to look for our own chance to reach out to others, to look for a way to invite others to come and to share with us, to make this journey of life with us, this journey of faith, that we can grow together, that we can love together, that we can share together. Today we come to the table of our Lord, and we remember his sacrifice. We think of what he has given for us. And we come and we present ourselves and we partake of the elements. We can't just stop at that. Then we also have to give back. We have to reach out. We have to show the same love that was shown to us. We have to reach out to others, to care, to love. For that's who we are. That's who we are. And that's what we have to do. Let us pray. Father, we do give thanks unto thee for thy love that watches over us and cares for us. Help us to see possibilities. Help us to see ways of reaching out. Help us to invite others to come and to be with us. Help us to love, to share. Help us to care. Help us, we pray.